Hi guys, Beans here. Welcome back to the channel. This week we find ourselves at Misano for our Coach Dave GT3 Series Sprint races. So starting way back in the grid in P19, we didn't have the greatest quality run, but this always seems to be the case for us. I don't know what it is, but I just can never put down a solid lap when it comes to the qualification. However, with that being said, it's time for the race. And as always, our pace just gets better and better as the race goes on. Making it through turns 1 and 2 cleanly with no incidents with anybody, which is quite surprising considering this is an LFM series race. Heading into Rio for the first time, there's always a bit of action or contact between a few people, but so far so good. I'm just trying to take it easy until we're able to apply some pressure on people and make some overtakes, as I've lost a few positions at the start. So when it comes to Misano, I find that it's always action-packed at the start, and then in the latter part of the race, it almost becomes boring in my opinion. It's not my best track by far. I like the track and I enjoy driving it, and until I get stuck in, I almost want to say, almost like a rhythm, where I can't find any time anywhere. I end up being stuck behind the same car for 6 or 7 laps, and it usually ends in them buckling under pressure. And for me to set that position, it's definitely a track we need a lot more hours on to be able to compete with podium positions, but as we progress through these weeks, we can see slight improvements now. I don't think the improvements we're gaining are as drastic, but eventually I'm hoping we can hone in on these little imperfections through our lap times. Enough rambling now anyway, and time to concentrate on the race. So far, a clean lap 1 with minimal incidents from all over the track, to be fair. I can't quite remember what split this was, but after our poor performances last week at Barcelona and our unlucky fortune, our ELO took a beating, so it was definitely some of the lower end lobbies. As we head down the pit straight to end lap 1, we're going to skip ahead further along, and in this lap, this Mercedes does something that I've actually not seen at Misano before. As we're heading down the long straights, through the right kinks, something goes horribly wrong. I think he might have lost the back end and then ends up on the grass, and then at that point he can't slow down. So it's very unfortunate for the pink Ferrari. He got taken out like a bowling pin. But it's 2 free positions, so we're not going to argue, and it's time to focus to catch the cars up ahead. As previously mentioned in the first clip, Misano can be a very boring race. So this video is more of a highlight reel from a few races we've done over the week, but overall it's not been a bad week. We've managed to salvage some ELO back and improve our safety rating in the meantime. Now as we head down this long straight, we can see a car on the grass to the left. So as we're approaching, I wasn't entirely sure on what he would do, but we were quicker. So we have to go around the outside and we have to leave the room on the inside of the hairpin, as I was certainly unsure if he would try and make a dive bomb to get the position back that we managed to capitalise on from his mistake. Fast forwarding to where we catch up with this small group, we're currently in P12 with just over halfway left of the race, and I was certain we could at least finish for a top 10. So at this point, that was our goal, but to do this we'd certainly have to be consistent, and we'd have to stay on track, as the track limit warnings can come in thick and fast around Misano. It's a track that, to be quick, you have to abuse the curbs, but at the same time you have to know the limit, to which is something I can say that we don't know. I've already got 2 track limit warnings, so I've only got 2 more before I get a drive-through penalty, which we don't want, because then that will just push us further down the field. Coming down the straight, we've managed to close the gap to the car ahead, but we're all running similar lap times here, all within a few tenths of each other, and for me at this current pace I was comfortable with. But I didn't seem to improve much on it throughout the rest of the race. As we skip forwards to the last lap now, we're still behind this group, and the only position we've gained was from one of the front runners who was hit off the track and then left, which isn't ideal for them, to be fair, but these things happen, and it's still another position gained for me. Shame we couldn't quite make it into the top 10, but hey, this is racing, not everything goes your way, and you've just got to take the rough with the smooth. Round turn 14 for the last time this race, and considering we were down in P11, we weren't that far from the leader, to be fair. Literally only 2 turns, you know, and I'd have been intrigued on where we would have finished if we could actually not suck in the qualifying sessions and put in the decent laps that we know we can do, and the laps that we consistently hit throughout the race. But that's going to be the end of race 1 for now. Now on to race 2. Starting down in P27 with car number 20 of the lobby. We've effectively started at the back of the grid because the 2 cars behind me, they didn't even bother putting in a lap. I don't know why people do this, if I'm honest. You know, they start at the back on purpose and then try and push their way through on lap 1. It makes no sense to me. If you want to be a front runner, then qualify. During the race, they were both fairly quick, if I'm honest. They weren't slouches, so why join the session and sit in the pits without doing a lap? I don't know, it baffles me. But as we're dodging the lap 1 carnage we missed in the last race, we've gained a few positions, and the more races and laps that I was doing around Misano, the more confident I was feeling. It won't be long before I think we can challenge for top 5 for sure. Heading down the straight for the first time this race, we've managed to steal 5 positions already, putting us up into P22. And as always, the main goal this race is make it through without any incidents, so I'm just giving them that little bit of extra room for now until the tyres and brakes get up to temperature. Hoping for a top 10 this race, given we started at the back. I think if we can get into the top 10 with minimal incidents, we should be able to claw back at least some elo lost. We are currently focusing on obtaining the bronze license rank, and to achieve that we need, I think it's 1300 elo. And as of editing this video, I think I'm at 1145, so I'm not too far away. On a side note though, I have found a widget on the LFM platform which has only taken me nearly 4 months to learn. You can download what split you're in, your elo rating, your safety rating, and if my limited editing skills allow me to, I shall pop that up on the screen now. I've seen people use the same widget when it comes to when they're live streaming. And it's quite a good feature. It allows you to show your license rank, your safety rating, your elo. So like when you're streaming, you don't constantly have to say what split you're in. But the widget we're using is from after this race. So I think we gained about 37 elo this race, which is not too bad. Skipping ahead to the start of lap 3, and if you just check the rearview mirror, the Mclaren behind us, he comes in just that little bit too hot. And unfortunately, he clipped my rear end. And then we're hit by another car who he just couldn't avoid us. Luckily it wasn't a massive crash and we didn't gain too much damage, otherwise that probably would have been the end of this race. But McLaren waited, he apologised after the race, and it's just one of those racing incidents. Skipping ahead to when we catch back up to the pack, it's a bit of a treacherous area to try and make an overtake here, so we thought we'd hang back just a little bit and allow the other cars in front of us to jostle for position and make mistakes. I've noticed that not many people we race like to go too wide in this section of the track, but the guys up ahead, they seem to be keeping it clean. A few off tracks, but nothing major. Now the Ferrari and Porsche have a little bit of a coming together, and as the McLaren looks at going past, they also make contact. So we capitalise on this, putting us up into P18 and taking those 2 positions. Fast forward to where we've closed the gap, which was a second. The Porsche runs deep here, misses his braking point, and we capitalise, go down the inside and take that position from the Porsche. Our pace so far at this point in the race, it wasn't the greatest if I'm honest. Roughly around 3 seconds off to what we can consistently do. And with 17 minutes of the race left, if we were to gain any sort of result, we'd need to put our foot down. As we skip ahead into Rio, there's a Mercedes off on the grass to our right. And I wasn't sure when going around turn 5 if he would manage to stop and rejoin safely. Luckily he did, however it compromises our run into the long straight, which is an important part of this track to get right if you want to keep those lap times down. And also as well, the Porsche behind us, he gets a little bit of a better run, but I think because of how we had to position our car, he has to let off the throttle, so that also compromises his run. But we keep ahead and we keep this position. And as we make our way around Tremonto, we get a better run heading into the right curve. So with our quicker speed, I make a move on the inside, knowing that we can leave plenty of room on our left. As we head into the curve, I think the McLaren, he lets off just that little bit and he does extend the track just a little. I definitely left the room, but it's easy to drift out and open up the next turn. But I'm comfortable knowing where I can put the car and where I can keep the momentum going without losing too much time. But we go up the inside, we make the move stick.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
Fast forward a few laps ahead, as we head onto the straight here, the BMW has a bit of a twitch from the rear, causing him to lose traction. Now we're able to make a move down the inside, but I need to nail my braking point and position my car on the curb to not allow a switch back. which we achieve, and it's now time to chase down this Porsche that's up ahead. Skipping a lap, we've caught up with the Porsche and we've got a better run heading into this curve. Putting my car alongside, I make a move down the inside. Maybe a little bit aggressive, but it's clean, and we cause the Porsche to lift off, which unfortunately for him means he comes under attack from the BMW. Quick jump ahead, not much has happened really. We've gained 2 positions, one from somebody leaving who was in front of us. That promoted us up into P11, and then one person had a drive through, so then that put me into P10. Meaning a top 10 finish from starting from the back and being hit was on the cards. As we get a call for a yellow flag, there appears to be a BMW making donuts on the grass. Funnily enough, it was one of the BMWs that started behind us in the beginning of the race and was in a hurry to push his way through the pack. Unfortunately, we aren't able to capitalise on anyone else's mistakes or catch up. We managed to bring the gap ahead slightly, but we've run out of time in this race. However, we've brought it home in P9, and considering how this race went, I was fairly happy with the result. Anyways, that's going to conclude today's video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe, like and comment down below. It's always good to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care guys, see ya!